For years, even close friends noticed tension lurking beneath the surface when Aniston talked about her childhood. Long before she graced magazine covers, her private battles often revolved around her mother's impossible standards. Days at home were a careful performance, with strict rules about posture, appearance, and every small detail that might disappoint her mother. Looking back, Aniston describes the constant, biting criticisms that made her feel like she could never measure up, comments on her looks, her weight, even the way she laughed. Words meant to build discipline stayed with her long into adulthood, but never in a way that brought comfort or pride. Instead, the memories left deep scars that influenced her relationships, her trust in others, and even her confidence as she stepped into the glare of Hollywood's spotlight. Quietly, she tried to keep her personal struggles hidden, believing that sharing them would only lead to more judgment. When new reports began surfacing about family feuds and misunderstandings, fans speculated about the root of her troubles but could never get the complete picture. Over time, more details began to emerge, revealing how her mother's harsh approach shaped even the most private moments of her life, teaching her to stay guarded, to focus on work, and to mask pain with humor or deflection. While cameras captured her smile, very few realized the battles she faced when the world wasn't watching. As she finally speaks out, listeners are beginning to understand just how much she kept hidden, and why these stories, often dismissed as rumors, have always held a grain of truth. Growing up in a family where the world of entertainment was a natural part of daily life, Jennifer Aniston experienced show business almost as a family tradition. Her father, the late John Aniston, was renowned for his career-defining role as Victor Kiriakis on Days of Our Lives, a character he brought to life for an impressive 50 years. His dedication to a single television role and his unwavering presence on screen shaped what it meant to have a lasting impact in the industry. On the other hand, Jennifer's mother, Nancy Dow, contributed her own legacy through her work as both a model and television actress. The blend of her mother's modeling career and television appearances demonstrated another side of entertainment, one that navigated both glamour and the realities of television acting. Jennifer's parents' experiences provided her not just with genetic ties to fame, but a first-hand understanding of the demands, triumphs, and pressures of public life. This environment, marked both by her father's consistency in a beloved daytime soap, and her mother's variety of endeavors, enveloped her early on in the standards and craft of show business. She had exposure to the work ethic and commitment required to succeed, as well as the unpredictability that comes with careers in acting and television. Surrounded by parents who each made their own mark in the industry, Jennifer Aniston's family life shaped the expectations and dreams that would one day guide her own successful path as an actress. Despite finding success and fame, Jennifer Aniston has talked openly about how difficult her relationship with her mother was. She described never feeling like she could meet her mother's high expectations. In a 2015 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, she explained that her mother was a model, beautiful and stunning, and that she never felt she measured up. Aniston said her mother placed a lot of value on appearances. Instead of feeling guided, Aniston felt judged and found it hard to relate. Her mother focused on presentation and often commented on how both of them looked. Aniston revealed to the Sunday Telegraph that she did not turn out to be the ideal model daughter her mother wanted. This gap in understanding grew even wider after her parents' divorce. Aniston remembered her childhood as far from happy, telling Allure in 1999 that her home was not a fun place to live. Things became even more strained when her mother published a memoir titled From Mother and Daughter to Friends. The book talked about their relationship and ended up making the rift between them deeper. This led to years of estrangement, with the book creating more distance at a time when Aniston already felt isolated from her mother. Their story is a reminder of how complicated family ties can be, especially when expectations and personal struggles get in the way of closeness. Suddenly, when Jennifer Aniston was only 9 years old, her parents' marriage ended in a way that left a deep mark on her childhood. She remembered the moment vividly in a 2004 interview with Diane Sawyer, describing how the news was given to her in a way that changed everything instantly. After coming home from a friend's birthday party, she was met with the revelation that her parents were divorcing. The news wasn't delivered in a gentle or drawn-out way. Rather, her mother told her quickly, as if pulling off a Band-Aid in one swift motion. Jennifer explained that her father was there one moment and gone the next, with no time for a long conversation, and she sensed almost a relief that it happened so directly rather than dragging it out. This abrupt change left her with a sense of her world being shattered, and she compared it to the shock of something being ripped away without warning. Recounting this memory, Jennifer reflected on how sudden and final the split felt from the child's perspective, with little chance to process or prepare beforehand. The impact of learning about her parents' divorce in such a rapid way stayed with her over the years, shaping her understanding of family changes and how they can suddenly alter everything that once felt familiar. During a revealing 2004 interview with Diane Sawyer, Jennifer Aniston opened up about her relationship with her mother, Nancy Dow, sharing a moment that showed just how distant they had become. She described a painful reality where her mother did not know her then husband, Brad Pitt, something she admitted she never imagined would happen in her life. This simple fact highlighted the deep divide that had grown over the years, a gap that separated not just their personalities, but also their most important experiences. The weight of that estrangement followed her through a very public stage of her life, contrasting with her successful career and the image she presented to the world. Yet, time gave both of them space for reflection. Eventually, Jennifer and her mother found a way back to each other, managing to reconcile and repair the fragile bond they had lost for so long. This healing took place before Nancy Dow's passing, allowing them a chance for peace after years of distance and misunderstanding. Instead, many people assume that having two parents who are actors leads to a childhood filled with financial comfort, but Jennifer Aniston's early life looked quite different. She has been open about her financial struggles growing up, sharing that her family faced real economic challenges. She mentioned to Parade that she actually grew up with absolutely no money at all, which might surprise those who only see her life through the lens of later fame and success. The notion of Hollywood privilege does not fit here. Her childhood wasn't surrounded by luxury or the perks people imagine are automatic for those living in the entertainment world. In fact, earning her own allowance meant rolling up her sleeves and cleaning toilets as a kid. She explained, not just matter-of-factly but with a little humor, that she's actually pretty good at it. These chores weren't symbolic exercises or ways to build character in a comfortable home, they were necessary. The reality meant that comforts other children might take for granted weren't available to her, and she learned the value of hard work early. Though her parents' professions may have let her see the world of acting up close, the financial challenges they faced meant she could not escape the everyday problems and needed to contribute to her family's needs. Along with a sense of independence, these experiences gave her a straightforward outlook and a focused attitude when facing the uncertainties of her own career later in life. Long before finding fame on the screen, Jennifer Aniston took on a mix of jobs that had nothing to do with Hollywood. At one point, she worked as a receptionist at an advertising agency, a position that demanded juggling phones, schedules, and plenty of paperwork. She once shared that her early work life was filled with moments of uncertainty, especially when it came to carrying out tasks outside her comfort zone. Her stint as a receptionist may have taught her patience, but her brief experience as a bike messenger proved a lot more challenging. She tried that job for just 2 days, and the memory stuck with her. Navigating Manhattan's busy streets on a bike, dodging yellow taxis, and racing against the clock. Jennifer herself joked that putting her on a bike in New York City was a bad idea, with taxi cabs surrounding her, and her navigation skills falling short of the mark. Her self-deprecating humor came through as she admitted that, to anyone waiting for packages or envelopes to arrive on time, she owed an apology. According to her, many deliveries ended up late, a fact she could laugh about much later. These early jobs gave her a taste of the real world and its pressures, shaping her sense of humor and resilience even before the cameras started rolling in her career. Interestingly, Jennifer Aniston once talked about her brief experience as a bike messenger during a lighthearted interview on The Tonight Show. She described the job with her signature sense of humor, openly admitting that she struggled to keep up with the demands. She joked about how overwhelming the task was for her, and confessed that it was not as glamorous as it might sound. Recalling the day, Aniston laughed as she admitted that, at one point, the work proved too much, and, rather than continue pedaling, she decided to just hop into a cab in order to finish her shift. Her self-deprecating story was met with amusement from her interviewer, and the audience, emphasizing her willingness to poke fun at herself and reveal the less polished moments of her life. This story about her time as a bike messenger, though brief, stands out as another charming example of how Aniston brings honesty and humor to her real-life experiences, freely sharing stories of jobs that were far from the Hollywood spotlight, and showing that she faced hurdles and awkward moments just like anyone else. Though many people might imagine that acting was always the main focus, Working as a waitress held a special place among different roles. There was a simple pleasure in serving customers, managing orders, and moving quickly between guests and tables. Even though the shifts were sometimes tiring and the pace could be chaotic, there was genuine enjoyment in the routines and small interactions. The hustle of carrying trays, taking care of regulars, listening to conversations, and even dealing with difficult requests brought a sense of accomplishment. Waitressing offered moments to laugh, moments to learn about people, and sudden rushes that broke any monotony in the day. It was not just about the work, but about connecting with others, picking up stories, and building a sense of teamwork with other staff. There would be long hours, sometimes late nights, but finishing a busy shift with a few good tips could give a real lift. However, selling timeshares did not hold the same appeal at all. There was a strong dislike for that job, which felt forced and unsatisfying, instead of the lively energy found in a restaurant. The work of convincing strangers to buy something they might not want created a constant discomfort. The process was repetitive, the conversations often awkward, and the pressure to close sales felt artificial. Unlike waitressing, where the environment could be light, helping with timeshares felt like a performance with little reward at the end. The difference between these jobs was not just about what was being sold or served, but the atmosphere, the realness of every shift, and how each day left you feeling. Finding joy in work came easily behind a tray, less so handing out pamphlets or delivering a pitch, reminding that sometimes enjoying the place and the role made all the difference through those early years of experience. Nevertheless, Jennifer Aniston's path to acting was shaped by influences both inspiring and challenging. Growing up in a family deeply rooted in performance, her creative impulse took hold early. As a child, attending a Broadway showing of Annie left a lasting impression and sparked her dream of being on stage. That fantasy followed her, even as she wondered if actually achieving it was at all possible. The artistic urge was undeniable, surfacing in small ways during her early years, fueled by imagination and a longing to be part of that world. Yet, there was a constant undercurrent of doubt imposed, not only by the realities of the entertainment business, but also from her own father, John Aniston. As a well-known soap opera actor, he had first-hand experience with the uncertainties, struggles, and frequent rejections actors encounter. He wanted a different, more secure future for his daughter, hoping she would take a path toward law school and avoid the hardships he knew too well. His warnings came not out of indifference, but from his own knowledge of how difficult the profession could be. Still, Jennifer's resolve only solidified. She saw her choice to pursue acting as an act of rebellion, and the idea of proving her father wrong became part of her motivation. Each audition, each step she took in her acting journey, was propelled by a mix of hope and determination to show that she could not only survive but thrive in the very world her father had warned her against. Even with her ongoing popularity and impressive achievements, Jennifer Aniston has always been open about carrying emotional scars from her childhood. In one honest interview with Extra, she described a powerful memory that continues to shape her life. When she was just 5 years old, she got on her tricycle and, without thinking of the danger, rode it straight into a swimming pool. She recalled how she did not let go and sank right to the bottom. Looking back, Jennifer admitted with disarming honesty that she was not a bright child at that age, poking fun at her younger self. The event could have had a tragic outcome if not for her older brother, who saw what happened and didn't hesitate to leap into action. He dove into the pool and pulled her out before it was too late. Moments like this, even from such an early age, can leave a lasting effect, influencing a person's sense of safety and the way they view the world. Jennifer's willingness to share these pieces of her past reveal a side that isn't often seen on screen, showing how the echoes of early fear can shape someone, even as they smile for fans and cameras in the years that follow. After a significant incident left deep emotional scars, the effect of a fear of water lingered throughout the years and shaped countless moments of life. Even decades later, the hesitancy to go underwater remained too strong to shake off, no matter how much others claimed not to believe the depth of that phobia. Deep down, it never faded. This fear was candidly revealed during a heartfelt interview, where the long shadow of past trauma emerged as a defining reality. The challenge reached a peak during the filming of Cake in 2014, a movie where the role closely mirrored real life. While portraying a character wrestling with lasting trauma from a similar event, a critical scene required immersion in a swimming pool. The experience was far from simple. Being underwater is the very thing that fear revolved around. Preparing for that scene demanded extensive effort, including dedicated water therapy, to even consider such an act. To make it possible, weights were used to help descend into the pool's depths, turning every second underwater into a battle. Filming this moment was not a quick process. Each attempt was difficult, and it eventually required over 30 takes before anything usable was captured on film. The struggle to go down, to submerge, and stay under for the camera reflected not just the script, but years of working to manage anxiety and trauma connected to water. Even as the scene made it to the final cut, the truth behind that moment told a story of resilience and the real struggle to face a long-standing fear, showing how personal trauma can influence professional life in unexpected ways, especially when so few people understand the lingering effects or recognize the courage it takes to confront the past like that on screen. Growing up in the home of two actors, John Aniston and Nancy Dow, Jennifer Aniston didn't just inherit talent. She also experienced firsthand the stress and unpredictability that can come with fame and emotional tension. During a very open conversation with Sandra Bullock for Interview magazine, Jennifer shared how her parents' rocky relationship deeply affected her. Her father, best known for his iconic role on Days of Our Lives, and her mother, Nancy, were far from the picture of harmony. Jennifer recalled that the instability in her household left her feeling perpetually unsafe. The sense of security most children take for granted was missing from her childhood. Jennifer described those years as full of moments where adults were unkind to each other. Witnessing such behavior left lasting marks on her, shaping her views not only about relationships, but about how people should treat one another in general. She noticed at a very young age that watching adults argue, use harsh words, or simply fail to be supportive filled her with a deep discomfort. Jennifer explained how, even as a child, she made a promise to herself that she would never treat anyone the way she saw her parents treat each other. The hurt she felt was something she vowed she would never inflict on another person. She stated that she didn't want anyone else to endure the same uneasy feelings she experienced when conflict unfolded at home. Her parents' difficult relationship taught her a great deal about the kind of person she wanted to become, and, more importantly, the kind of person she didn't want to be. In those years marked by turbulence and emotional unpredictability, Jennifer gained a strong sense of empathy and a desire to ensure that those around her felt respected and safe. This drive to break the cycle of unkindness and instability continues to influence how she approaches her relationships, both personally and professionally. When reflecting on her childhood, Aniston realized the impact that negativity had on her early life. Instead of allowing that cycle to continue and shape her future, she consciously chose a different path. She acknowledged that facing hardship offers options. One can respond with anger, play the victim, or decide to turn the situation around. Her decision was clear: to take whatever difficult experiences life handed her and turn them into something positive, like making lemonade from lemons. This attitude stemmed from deep self-awareness and the desire not to repeat the harmful patterns she had seen around her. She embraced resilience and personal growth, determined to live beyond the shadow of past pain, showing strength through hope and transformation. Interestingly, Jennifer Aniston's journey through high school was marked by a distinct goth phase rooted in the complexities of her relationship with her mother. At a time when the pressures of teenage years were already challenging, she found herself constantly at odds with her mother's worldview. Her mother's background as a model put a sharp focus on appearance and how a young woman should look. In response, Aniston chose to rebel. She adopted a goth style with heavy makeup, dark clothes, and a deliberately different vibe from what her mom expected. In her own words, she described herself as a dumpy teenager and recalled that the goth look was her way to push back. Years later, Aniston recalled how tragic she found those days, saying her high school years were not filled with fond memories. She joked in a 2016 interview that she looked like a goth nightmare, emphasizing just how intense her rebellion had been. The 1980s were about experimentation, and hers was an extreme expression shaped by the desire to unsettle her mother's expectations. Over time, though, this phase left a lasting impression, prompting her to reflect on why she used makeup as a barrier rather than something more personal. She spoke candidly about how long it took to peel away those protective layers and find comfort in her own skin. Today, Aniston has moved beyond those earlier struggles and put deeper thought into the meaning of beauty. For her, true beauty comes from within and grows out of self-acceptance and understanding. That belief is now central to how she looks at her life and herself, standing in contrast to the difficult process of growing up and learning how to feel truly comfortable as yourself. Nevertheless, after Jennifer Aniston got her start in acting, she quickly found herself facing a string of disappointments. Early on, she managed to break into television as a series regular in a sitcom titled Molloy in 1990, sharing screen time with Mayim Bialik, who would later become well known for her role in Blossom. Even though this seemed promising, the excitement was short-lived when Molloy was cancelled after only 6 episodes. Still determined, Aniston pressed forward, soon landing another role as a cast member in Ferris Bueller, a sitcom inspired by the popular movie starring Matthew Broderick. Unfortunately, history repeated itself, and Ferris Bueller was cancelled after just 13 episodes in 1992. Refusing to let these setbacks stop her, Jennifer continued to search for opportunities and joined the Fox network sketch comedy series, The Edge, within the same year. Despite fresh hopes that came with a new genre and cast, this show also lasted just 1 season before being taken off the air. Each time, she faced the disappointment of a project ending sooner than expected, but she kept auditioning and stayed committed to finding her place in the industry. In 1994, with several failed shows behind her, Jennifer became a regular on the CBS sitcom Muddling Through, demonstrating not only her resilience, but her determination to continue working despite the string of cancellations that marked the early years of her career. At that crucial point in her career, Jennifer Aniston found herself facing a complicated situation with 2 television projects. She had accepted a role on Muddling Through, a sitcom airing on CBS. At the same time, she was offered a part on NBC's new show, Friends, but there was a contract tying her to her previous commitment. This obstacle could have locked her out of the opportunity that would completely change her professional life. Warren Littlefield, president of NBC, was determined to see Aniston cast in Friends because he saw huge potential in the series and believed she was right for the part. As CBS began moving Muddling Through to Saturday nights, its ratings weren't strong, and NBC began planning ways to influence the competition. Preston Beckman, who handled scheduling at NBC, recalled how they deliberately placed original Danielle Steel movies directly against the show. The reason behind this move was simple. They wanted to prevent CBS from continuing Muddling Through out of stubbornness, which might have kept Aniston tied up and unavailable. Their strategy worked. CBS did not renew the sitcom, which let Aniston step away from her obligations. Because of that timing, she joined Friends, taking on the role that would become iconic. This strategic move cleared the path for her to become one of television's most recognized faces, shaping both her career and the legacy of Friends itself. Back in the time before Friends made her famous, Jennifer Aniston stood at a crossroads that could have led her down a completely different path. She had the chance to join Saturday Night Live, one of the most well-known comedy shows on television, and the offer was significant enough that it became a topic years later during a chat with Oprah Winfrey. Adam Sandler, an SNL cast member at the time, remembered how Aniston went into the office of Lorne Michaels, the show's executive producer, for a meeting. Sandler was excited by the idea of having her join their crew, imagining the possibilities for sketches and laughs. When he learned that she turned it down, though, he couldn't believe it. To him, and others at SNL, passing on such an offer seemed almost unthinkable, and he questioned her decision, not even knowing what Friends was supposed to be at the time. Jennifer herself confirmed the story, admitting that Sandler and other SNL cast members seemed to think she was making a big mistake. She recalled that she did not think she would enjoy the SNL environment, even though the show was already a proven success. On The Howard Stern Show in 2019, Aniston opened up even more about what drove her decision. She said she had worries about how women were treated on the set, especially compared to the male cast. She remembered discussing this concern with Michaels at the meeting. At just a little over 20 years old, she now calls herself a young twit for thinking she could really see everything so clearly. Taking a risk on a sitcom called Friends, which no one thought much of at the time, seemed like a bigger gamble than joining a household name like SNL. Looking back, her choice might have felt rash and maybe naive, but Aniston trusted her own instincts about where she would be most comfortable and fulfilled, even as people around her thought she was making the wrong move. Soon after signing on for Friends, Jennifer Aniston's life changed, but not immediately in the ways people would expect. When she first started, the show hadn't yet gained its massive following, and her pay reflected that. Earning only $2,500 per episode, her financial world was still pretty modest. At the time, she was driving an old battered car, and would often pass by a used Mercedes parked on the side of the road with a for sale sign, always imagining what it would be like to have the means to buy it. The moment she received her first paycheck from Friends, she finally felt she could make one of her dreams a reality, and decided to buy the Mercedes, feeling sure that this, at long last, was her well-deserved reward. The car, which had been waiting for a new owner for nearly 2 years, cost $113,000, and she didn't hesitate to pay the price in full, excited to drive away in something so shiny and new. However, her celebration was short-lived. Aniston laughingly explained how the Mercedes turned out to be a disappointment. Not long after purchase, she found herself stuck. Her dream car broke down again and again, to the point where it never ran properly, earning it the reputation as a lemon in her memory. She reflected on this costly mistake with both humor and honesty, admitting she never thought to have a mechanic examine it before buying. Looking back now, she calls it a very typical error for a young and somewhat naive 25-year-old, realizing it's just one of those memorable blunders everyone has to go through. When the television show Friends became a massive hit in the 1990s, Jennifer Aniston quickly rose to fame, but it wasn't just her acting that caught everyone's attention. Her hairstyle on the show, worn by her character Rachel, soon became a huge trend, so much so that it was nicknamed the Rachel. Women everywhere flocked to hair salons armed with torn-out magazine clippings, hoping to get the same bouncy, layered, face-framing style. Even though the cut seemed effortless on screen, Aniston herself didn't actually enjoy it. During a chat with Glamour, she bluntly called the Rachel kind of cringy, admitting she wasn't a fan at all. Her longtime hairstylist Chris McMillan had created the look both for the show and for her personal life. Aniston once joked about her love-hate relationship with Chris, saying that he was the bane of her existence because he started that damn Rachel, and she didn't think it was flattering. She went even further during a later conversation, calling it the ugliest haircut she had ever seen, and saying she only wore that style for about 7 months, even though the memory of it lived on much longer. The cultural impact of the Rachel, though, has been remarkable. More than 15 years after Aniston stopped wearing it, people still talk about it, and images of that haircut remain a marker of 1990s style. Stylists everywhere still sometimes get requests for the distinctive cut, a reminder of just how far a television role can influence popular trends, even if the actress herself would rather forget it. Growing up, challenges presented themselves early for Jennifer Aniston, especially in school, but she never fully grasped why everyday reading and remembering details felt so overwhelming. As she began her acting career, she encountered hurdles familiar to anyone starting out in Hollywood: repeated rejection and disappointment from TV shows that failed to gain traction. Yet, beneath the surface, Aniston dealt quietly with a deeper struggle that would go undiagnosed for years. It was not until her 20s, in the midst of an ordinary eye exam for new glasses, that the truth came out unexpectedly. She was asked to read a paragraph using special glasses, one lens red, the other blue, and then answer questions based on what she read. She only answered 3 questions correctly. The follow-up test tracked her eye movements, revealing that her eyes would jump ahead several words before bouncing back. The diagnosis of dyslexia explained a lifetime of academic and personal frustrations. Suddenly, Aniston realized that the inability to retain information or keep pace in childhood wasn't because she lacked intelligence, but rather because of this specific learning difference. The moment of discovery shed light on much of her earlier self-doubt and painful memories from school. Knowing about her dyslexia brought a sense of relief and self-understanding, allowing her to reinterpret past struggles. She has since spoken openly about how this revelation provided important context for her journey, admitting that for years she believed she simply wasn't smart. This understanding helped her put much of her personal history in perspective, transforming feelings of inadequacy into something manageable and known. Over the years, Jennifer Aniston became almost as famous for her privacy as for her acting, always opting to keep her personal life away from the spotlight. For a long time, she avoided social media altogether, choosing not to share pieces of her everyday world with fans or the public. However, that changed in October 2019. After years of staying offline, she took a dramatic leap into the digital age and officially joined Instagram. Her very first post made headlines everywhere and showed that she knew exactly how to make an entrance. The selfie featured all 5 of her Friends co-stars, giving fans a powerful dose of nostalgia along with the message that, now, they could also be Instagram friends. That single post exploded in popularity, and within only 5 hours and 16 minutes, Jennifer Aniston's account had already gained 1 million followers, landing her in the Guinness World Records for the fastest account to reach that number. Since joining, Aniston has shifted her role from being almost anonymous on social media to becoming a familiar and regular presence. Followers get to see personal details that she never shared before, whether it's a look at her workouts, cute photos of her pets, or a demonstration of how she blends her favorite smoothie. These posts let people feel like they are invited into her daily routines and interests. The story behind what prompted her to finally embrace Instagram after so many years is just as interesting. When she appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, she was asked about her sudden change of heart about social media. She responded with a laugh that she wasn't entirely sure, but noted that many people around her had encouraged her. She described her thought process with a shrug, saying, "What you resist persists, so what the hey?" Before she launched her official account, Aniston actually created a fake one for research. She wanted to understand the world of social media before putting her real self out there. In her words, when she was considering making the jump, she thought it was time to dip her toe into the pool of social media and see for herself what it was all about. When Jennifer Aniston returned to television after Friends, she chose a different kind of project with the morning show on Apple TV+. The series drew inspiration from the highly publicized scandal involving Matt Lauer, the former Today Show host dismissed after numerous accusations of sexual misconduct. Aniston explained to Variety that the show's main focus was to shed light on inappropriate workplace behavior, particularly the kind that was often brushed aside or excused in the past, but is now openly condemned. While the characters and stories in the series were fictional, Aniston acknowledged they spotlighted the type of charming narcissist that was common in the industry, men who were often forgiven or ignored, even when their behavior crossed the line. Lauer's very public downfall put him alongside other powerful figures in the entertainment world who faced severe consequences, such as Woody Allen, Harvey Weinstein, and Bill Cosby. In all these cases, the pattern of tolerated bad behavior suddenly ended with intense public backlash and social consequences, a phenomenon widely described as cancel culture. Yet, Aniston shared reservations about how society talks about cancellation. She said in a 2023 interview with the Wall Street Journal that she was tired of cancel culture and admitted she did not fully understand what the term even means anymore. She questioned where the line is drawn and stressed that not every situation belongs in the same category as someone like Harvey Weinstein. For her, there should be room for understanding the differences in the severity of allegations and hopefully a path to accountability and even redemption, depending on the case, rather than simply labeling and permanently rejecting people for various infractions. Jennifer Aniston has openly expressed her strong dislike for Harvey Weinstein, and it appears this feeling was shared by him as well. Court records made public show that tension between them rose in 2017, when the National Enquirer was preparing a false story alleging that Aniston had been assaulted by Weinstein. Both denied these claims firmly. However, Weinstein's reaction was extremely harsh. In an email to a reporter, he shockingly wrote that Jennifer Aniston should be killed. In an interview in 2023 with the Wall Street Journal, Aniston described her own experiences with Weinstein, saying he was not someone anyone looked forward to being around. She mentioned that being with him felt like something you had to endure rather than enjoy. Always cautious due to the rumors surrounding his conduct in Hollywood, she recalled an occasion when he visited her movie set to suggest a film idea. Because of her concerns, she made sure someone stayed in her trailer during his visit, showing just how wary she was of his presence. This story reveals a darker side to their interactions, marked by fear and hostility rather than professional respect or kindness. Even though Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt first crossed paths in 1994, their story didn't truly begin until 1998, when their agents decided these two would be a great pair and set up a casual meeting. This orchestrated introduction happened because their managers were friends and saw the potential for something special, but the meeting itself was relaxed and friendly. Jennifer later described Brad as a sweet, normal guy from Missouri, not a flashy Hollywood actor. At the time, both were moving on from other relationships. Brad had just broken up with Gwyneth Paltrow, while Jennifer had ended things with Tate Donovan. Their agents' plan to introduce them paid off, as they quickly realized how well they connected, especially after that first date. Jennifer would later tell Rolling Stone that their first evening out together was easy and fun, and in a talk with Diane Sawyer in 2004, she remembered feeling comfortable and happy with Brad from the very beginning. Their undeniable attraction quickly evolved into something deeper, and the pair became one of Hollywood's most adored couples. They were often seen together at important events, and quickly drew attention everywhere they went, fueling rumors and fascination all around. Their public debut as a couple came at the 1999 Emmy Awards when they arrived together, instantly confirming they were more than just friends, and bringing the speculation to an end. Not long after, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt announced their engagement, capturing the imagination of fans and media everywhere. At that point, both were enjoying enormous success in their careers, and their relationship became a frequent topic in entertainment circles and popular culture. After a memorable night on November 29, 1999, the crowd at a Sting concert buzzed with excitement as Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt stepped on stage, drawing every eye to Jennifer's dazzling new engagement ring. The piece was truly one of a kind, a circular design packed with diamonds, and it was reported that Brad spared no expense, spending $500,000 for the custom creation. The moment became the talk of Hollywood, but it was only a taste of what was to come. The big event arrived on July 29, 2000. Their wedding became a spectacle like few others in the entertainment world, a gathering so anticipated and private that curiosity lingered in the air for weeks ahead of time. Brad and Jennifer chose a bluff in Malibu overlooking the Pacific Ocean for their special day, inviting around 200 guests to share it with them. Brad had a vision for the setting, wanting the private estate to radiate tranquility and beauty, so he ordered an impressive arrangement of 50,000 roses, wisteria, tulips, and lotus flowers that made the space look like a lush Zen garden. Jennifer looked the part of a flawless bride, wearing a low-back wedding dress that shimmered with glass beads, the work of designer Lawrence Steele, turning heads even in a room full of movie stars. Music filled the air as the newlyweds danced to the romantic song The Way You Look Tonight. The party itself was rich in detail and surprise, including a 40-member gospel choir whose voices carried through the night, and a meal starring lobster paired with champagne. Melissa Etheridge performed live, delivering a powerful set for the happy couple and their guests. As the night drew to its incredible finish, a fireworks show lit up the Malibu sky for 13 minutes straight, a celebration so lavish that it cost about $1 million, capping off one of Hollywood's most talked-about weddings. Meanwhile, in one of the most unforgettable Thanksgiving episodes of Friends, the storyline takes a funny twist when Monica invites her old high school friend Will Colbert to dinner, played by Brad Pitt. The audience is quickly drawn into the tension bubbling between Will and Rachel Green, Jennifer Aniston's character. The awkward energy escalates when Will, who has transformed from an overweight, unnoticed teenager into a handsome, confident man, reveals he was in an I Hate Rachel Green club along with Ross, Rachel's on and off love interest. The revelation sparks a series of humorous and slightly uncomfortable moments, especially since Rachel has no idea why Will feels such strong resentment toward her. As the dinner progresses, the playful banter between Aniston and Pitt feels even more engaging because they were married in real life at the time, making the hostile rivalry between their characters even more entertaining to watch. Jennifer Aniston delivers her lines with genuine surprise and comedic timing, brilliantly capturing Rachel's confusion and outrage over this secret club. Brad Pitt, for his part, plays Will with a mix of lingering teenage bitterness and newfound confidence. The dynamic between Will and Rachel becomes the heart of the episode, filled with funny insult exchanges, shocked reactions from the group, and Monica trying to maintain order. The episode is not just remembered for its celebrity guest star, but also for the way Aniston's performance highlights Rachel's depth, reflecting her obliviousness to her past as well as her enduring charm. This Thanksgiving dinner quickly unravels into chaos, with the revelation of the secret club, old rumors, and the odd alliances of high school memories disrupting the usual warmth of the holiday. It's the comedic chemistry between Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, mixed with the laugh-out-loud script, that makes this episode stand out, striking a perfect balance between nostalgia and sharp wit. The humor, the awkwardness, and the star power all combine to give viewers a memorable and much-loved chapter in the Friends series. Later in 2003, during a cover interview with a women's magazine, Jennifer Aniston was asked if Brad Pitt was the love of her life. She answered thoughtfully, saying, "Is he the love of my life? I think you're always sort of wondering, are you the love of my life? I mean, I don't know, I've never been someone who says he's the love of my life. He's certainly a big love in my life. He's certainly a big love in my life." Her words showed true reflection, revealing how ideas about love can be complex and uncertain, even for someone who lived much of her relationship in the public eye. She went on to explain that she knew she and Brad shared something special, especially in the chaotic and unpredictable world of Hollywood. At that time, Friends was nearing its end, and Jennifer was entering a new chapter of her life. Nearly 4 years into their marriage, she expressed her desire to begin a family with Brad, telling The Guardian, it's time. You know, I think you can work with a baby. I think you can work while pregnant. I think you can do all of it. So I'm just truly looking forward to slowing down. Her comments gave people a glimpse into her hopes and decisions at an important turning point, highlighting how she was both thoughtful and open about her feelings as she navigated her marriage and career. Meanwhile, the situation for Jennifer Aniston took a difficult turn in the months leading up to her divorce from Brad Pitt. Despite their plans to start a family only 3 months earlier, hopes began to unravel as rumors of Brad Pitt's infidelity with Angelina Jolie started to appear by May 2004. The relationship between Pitt and Jolie, who were working together as co-stars in the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and played a married couple, soon became the subject of overwhelming media interest. Many people noted the strong on-screen chemistry between Pitt and Jolie, and tabloids took every chance to suggest that their connection might extend off-screen. Headlines, photos, and gossip pages began showing Brad and Angelina sharing what looked like intimate moments on set, and whispers spread, suggesting that perhaps there was more to their bond than just work. Jennifer Aniston's marriage was under attack from the constant speculation and attention. By January 2005, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt publicly announced their separation after nearly 5 years of marriage. Their joint statement asked for compassion, explaining their separate paths were the result of thoughtful consideration, not tabloid rumors, and assured everyone that they remained committed, caring friends. Still, rumors only intensified after their announcement, especially as Pitt soon appeared publicly with Angelina Jolie. During this time, Jennifer Aniston chose not to directly address the speculation, remaining private until September 2005. In her interview with Vanity Fair, she openly described her experience, admitting to feeling lonely, confused, and upset, but also trying to focus on moving forward. She spoke honestly about the responsibility within relationships, pointing out that even though the reasons for a breakup may feel mostly due to one person, each person plays a small part. With honesty and vulnerability, Aniston described her process of healing, admitting to difficult days, but also to taking care of what she could control, and focusing on her own life as she navigated one of the most public divorces in recent memory. After nearly 10 years since her first high-profile marriage ended, Jennifer Aniston married actor and writer Justin Theroux. Despite the happiness that marked the beginning of their relationship, their marriage did not last very long. In February of 2018, the couple publicly announced that they had actually separated the year before, making it clear that the decision was a mutual and loving one. Even after the end of their marriages, Aniston has managed to keep good relationships with her former husbands. When Brad Pitt became single again, he attended Jennifer Aniston's 50th birthday party in 2018, which prompted much speculation among fans about the possibility of a romantic reunion. While the two did not rekindle their marriage, they are reported to have remained friendly over the years. The same respectful friendship applies to her relationship with Theroux, as both have shared kind words about one another even after their divorce was finalized. Aniston has openly discussed her perspective on marriage and divorce, expressing that she does not see her brief marriages as failures. In an interview with Elle in 2018, she described her marriages as very successful in her own view, and explained that the decision to end them was based on the pursuit of happiness when she and her partners realized that their happiness together had faded. She emphasized that endings, for her, represented choices made toward healthier and happier lives, rather than mistakes or regrets about her past relationships. Throughout all the changes, Aniston's approach highlights her belief that personal contentment and honest decisions are more valuable than simply staying in a relationship for the sake of longevity. She has shown that it is possible to move forward after a divorce with respect and even affection, maintaining open and friendly communication with her ex-husbands, and living her life with a sense of dignity and optimism about what lies ahead. Throughout her marriage to Justin Theroux, Jennifer Aniston faced intense media scrutiny that focused less on her professional achievements and more on her private hopes for motherhood. In 2016, when persistent rumors and tabloid headlines claimed she was pregnant, the media storm became relentless. Rather than stay silent, she decided to address these claims head-on with a powerful op-ed for HuffPost. In that article, she firmly stated that she was not expecting, and expressed her frustration at the constant interference into her personal life. She pushed back against the cultural narrative that ties a woman's value to her relationship status or whether she has children. Her words, "We are complete with or without a partner, with or without a child," resonated with many, highlighting the pressure women face and the autonomy they deserve over their bodies and choices. Years later, she shared just how difficult this period had been for her emotionally, because, behind the headlines, she and Theroux were actively trying to conceive. Navigating this path to parenthood was incredibly challenging for her, she later revealed in a candid 2022 interview with Allure. She opened up about the heartbreaking journey, explaining that she explored various avenues including IVF and alternative remedies such as Chinese teas, hoping for the outcome so many people falsely assumed she had already achieved. The speculation and public scrutiny only amplified the pain of her personal struggle, making an already hard journey feel even more isolating. Despite the emotional toll and disappointment, she said she carries no regrets about what she went through, seeing it now as a closed chapter in her life. Looking back, she approaches the journey with acceptance, having made peace with her experiences and the choices she faced, finding resolve in where her path has taken her. Meanwhile, when daily routines around the world changed in 2020, Jennifer Aniston found herself with unexpected time she hadn't had in years. Productions in film and television stopped, and everyone was staying home. Instead of feeling restless or anxious, she decided to use this period for introspection. Aniston found herself reassessing her life in ways she hadn't before, recognizing that many things she once viewed as necessary were, in fact, adding extra stress. With more space for thought, she realized just how strongly her anxiety levels were linked to these unnecessary habits. Jennifer described in an interview that when she removed things she had once considered essential, but were actually not, her anxiety dropped a lot. She spoke about this openly in a conversation with InStyle in 2021. That same year, she shared that therapy became a valuable part of her life for managing anxiety and achieving personal growth. Therapy allowed her to know herself better and gave her a new way to look at challenges. Reflecting on her journey, she also recalled how therapy first entered her life after a significant personal change. On the last episode of The Ellen DeGeneres Show, Aniston talked about how her divorce from Brad Pitt led her to seek therapy. She explained that it was during this hard period that she made the step to talk to someone, and it turned out to be another important point in her path of self-understanding and healing. Over time, using quiet moments to reflect and making therapy part of her routine became a method not just for handling difficult times, but for finding a deeper sense of peace and growth. Meanwhile, Jennifer Aniston has been outspoken about the relentless pressure and scrutiny that comes from constant paparazzi attention, especially when it comes to invasions of her private life. In her 2016 op-ed for HuffPost, she strongly criticized how the media fixated on her every move, focusing obsessively on rumors of pregnancy and making her the subject of endless speculation. She painted a vivid picture of life under siege by the press, explaining how she and her husband faced daily harassment from large groups of aggressive photographers who lingered outside their home at all hours. These photographers would go to incredible, and sometimes dangerous, lengths to get a photo, even if it put her own safety or that of people nearby at risk. The feeling of being hunted every day, with no place to relax, weighed heavily on her and her family. Years earlier in 2005, Aniston fought back legally after a particularly invasive incident, when a paparazzo used a telephoto lens to snap photos of her sunbathing topless in her own backyard, hoping for privacy in her own space. These pictures were first published in European magazines and soon appeared in other outlets. When asked later, the photographer Peter Brandt attempted to brush off his actions, saying he meant to send different, harmless photos, and not the ones that were eventually sold and shared. This case did not simply fade away. Instead, Aniston pursued it in court, and the matter was settled with her receiving a significant payment of $550,000. Throughout her career, she has dealt with paparazzi controversies and put a strong spotlight on how harsh and intrusive fame can actually feel for celebrities, as well as those around them, who never fully escape the constant attention and speculation from the outside world. Meanwhile, over many years, Jennifer Aniston has quietly built a reputation for her steadfast devotion to helping others and making a positive impact on the world beyond her acting career. She has shown this through her active involvement with a range of charitable causes and projects that help those in need, both in response to urgent crises and long-term social issues. In particular, she has been closely connected to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, known for its efforts to treat and research catastrophic pediatric diseases. Aniston has taken on a key role in fundraising efforts for the hospital, lending her support to events and campaigns aimed at providing better treatment options and working towards cures for life-threatening childhood illnesses. By using her public platform, she has not only brought awareness to the important mission of St. Jude's, but has also inspired many others to support its work, helping children and families confronted by unimaginable challenges. Aniston's kindness extends to cancer research as well, shown by her enduring commitment to Stand Up to Cancer, a major initiative focused on speeding up cancer research and developing new therapies. Her support has involved participating in national campaigns, encouraging donations, and sharing urgent messages about the value of research efforts. When disaster struck Haiti in 2010, Aniston did not hesitate to step in, joining relief efforts after the devastating earthquake. She played a part in the Hope for Haiti Now telethon that brought together a wide range of celebrities and artists to raise significant funds for humanitarian relief and reconstruction in Haiti's most affected regions. Through her actions, Aniston has shown an authentic willingness to give time, energy, and her good name to causes that aim to relieve suffering and improve lives. Looking back now, what Jennifer Aniston has chosen to share paints a clearer picture of why so many misunderstood her for so long. Instead of letting old wounds destroy her spirit, she quietly used the pain as motivation to succeed, even as it followed her through decades of fame and scrutiny. While fans saw only her roles in hit shows and movies, they rarely realized the relentless drive to prove herself came from early criticism she could never shake off. Still, as she explained, putting distance between herself and the expectations she grew up with was never easy. There were years when she buried her feelings, focusing on work, becoming the good girl the world expected, and only letting the mask slip when she was alone. Over time, the pressure added up. She found it hard to trust people, forcing her to keep friendships surface level and to play parts off camera just as much as on. Even as romantic rumors made headlines, she privately struggled with feelings of not being enough, both as a daughter and as a partner. Once Jennifer decided to speak openly, it wasn't just idle gossip anymore. Her words gave context to the ongoing family rifts, and why forgiveness wasn't as simple as picking up a phone. Now, hearing her own voice support her truths, viewers can better appreciate the resilience it took for her to navigate Hollywood and her personal heartache side by side. Rather than a story of blame, what she shows is that moving past old pain takes time, honesty, and a willingness to face the discomfort that comes with telling your story out loud.